It's not 10 years in the future, it's today. That's going to be the interesting question, right? Where does human end and where does AI begin? Or where does AI end and where does human begin? And I don't think that there's an easy answer to that. So that line between human and computer has increasingly been blurred. Something that was sitting in your office, completely divorced from your life, is now something that is literally in your pocket every day, and now something that you even talk to, right? And now there's kind of a second piece, right? It used to be that you could look at a piece of work, you could look at an artifact out in the world, and you could tell, was this created by a machine or was this created by a human? I think that as that line is also blurred, now there are interesting questions, right? You wrote this article with the help of a computer. Is it human? Is it machine created? Where's that line, right? What is real? What is fake? What is generated is actually very complicated. I think that thinking of what is the right answer or what is a moral answer here is the wrong question to be asking. I think we should be thinking about what is the answer that benefits society the most. Debating whether this is real work, whether it's a likeness, and how this integrates with our current code on copyright and so on. I think that's the wrong way to think about it. I think we need to think about it as this is a problem society has never faced before. What is the answer that benefits everyone the best, right? What is the answer that is going to ultimately benefit society? What kind of a world do we want to live in going forward? People don't design these AI tools or don't design these dating apps or any application in a vacuum, right? The reason that they're being designed is because there is a consumer demand for them, right? There is a demand for tools like ChatGPT out there, right? People use this. It wouldn't be so successful if people didn't use it. I think that capitalism plays a role in this in terms of stringing these customers on. Customers are only valuable if they stay on these applications, whether they're an AI application, whether they're a dating app, whether there's some weird combination of both in the future, right? They profit from people staying on these applications. And that's something that you need to understand, right? That profit motive is not necessarily aligned with your best interest. It's absolutely not aligned in your best interest to stay on a dating app infinitely, right? But that's kind of in the company's best interest is to have you see the most number of things, have you do the most number of things, right? I think it's the same thing as like with AI, right? That it's not in AI's best interest to solve any of your problems. It just wants you to stay on the website, right? It's not trying to fix something that you're trying to do, right? You might be using it to write an essay. You might be using it to help you with your work. That's not its goal. Its goal is to keep you on the website, right? So I think that understanding that there is a profit motive behind building these applications is really, really interesting, right? I think it's really valuable for you to understand that as a consumer, right? As a knowledgeable consumer. The power behind these AI tools is not as centralized as people would have guessed even 10 years ago. It has been somewhat democratized, meaning that the underlying technology is proliferating through industry, even people who are not the typical tech giants that we think of, right? So I think that that's almost anti-capitalistic in some way, right? That I think that we would not have thought that there would be this much data sharing, this much code sharing, but that's actually been a reality of this field. And I think it's going to be a reality of this field for decades to come, that everyone's going to be using AI. It's a much more competitive marketplace than we actually thought it was going to be. We thought that it was going to be somewhat monopolistic, where a few people who had access to the data, a few people who have access to the training resources would really profit on it. I think it's been much more spread out, much more even than I think a lot of even researchers would have thought. And I think that that's a saving grace behind AI. What I hope for my son in 20 years, how AI is going to change his love life, is not dating profiles, it's not virtual reality. It's simply that people have to work less. How can humans love each other more is if we just simply had more time, right? I think that that's really what I've learned to appreciate in all of this, right? That just think about how much time you actually have with your loved ones. Just make that more, right? And I think that that's what I hope for the future of AI, is that ultimately humans will realize that we should stop thinking about these as beings, right? AI is a means to an end to improve the human experience. And what better way to improve the human experience than for us to work less, right? To have less work to do and spend more time with the people that we love. I believe AI can get us there.